Good morning, distance education lecturer. Today I'll be doing the inspiring story option, and I'm requesting you to be one of my 4th grade students. Hope you enjoy. Alright, good morning, grade 4. This morning I'd like each of you to think of a skill that you have been practicing recently. For example, it could be cooking, or maybe sewing, or a sport that you've been practicing. It can be anything. But I don't want you to tell your friend, I just want you to keep it in your head. So I'll give you 10 seconds to think about it. Can I ask you to raise your hand if you thought of a skill? Fantastic. Hands down. Can I ask you to raise your hand if you enjoy practicing the skill, if you think that practice is fun? Oh yeah, that's good to see so many hands. My hand's up too. Hands down. Alright, can I ask you to raise your hands if your practice is always perfect? If you've never made a mistake? Oh. I don't see anyone's hands up. Does that mean you've all made a mistake before? You know what? Even though Miss Cochran is playing the saxophone for years, she still makes mistakes. Sometimes she makes so many mistakes that she thinks she'll never be good enough, no matter how much she practices. Sometimes she even makes so many mistakes that she thinks even God can't use her. Do you know a secret, boys and girls? Did you know that God can take our talents exactly as they are and use them for His glory, even if they're not perfect? Is that pretty cool? I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to ask you to think about that skill as I read you a story now. Now this story, I'd like to quickly introduce you to 2 characters. First character is a mother. So every time you see this hat, I'll be the mother. The second character is a boy. And the third character, we're just going to have to leave that a secret for the moment. So make sure your listening ears are on, because we're going to have a bit of a discussion when this story finishes. Fantastic. Alright, this story is called God's Hands. Okay. Wishing to encourage her young son's progress on the piano, a mother took her boy to a Paderewski concert. Now, after they were seated, the mother spotted a friend down the aisle and decided that she would go and talk to her. So she walked down the aisle to say hello. Now, the boys were sitting around and eventually rose to explore the wonders of the concert hall. Had a bit of a look around through this door, and a bit of a look through this door, and eventually found his way through a door marked No Admittance. Does that sound like a good idea? We'll find out. Well, the house lights dimmed and the concert was about to begin, so the mother quickly returned to her seat, only to discover her son was missing. Oh dear. Well, the mother began to look around. Pretty soon, the curtains began to open and the spotlight focused on the impressive Steinway piano that was on the stage. As the mother looked onto the stage, she saw it was her son sitting there at this massive piano, plucking away, Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Oh no, because just at that moment, the great master pianist, Paderewski himself, walked onto the stage and sat down at the grand piano where the boy was. But you know what he whispered? He said, "Don't quit. Keep playing." Soon, Paderewski reached over and began to fill in the bass section as a little boy played. He then reached over with his right hand and began to fill in a running obbligato. Together, the great master and the young novice transformed a frightening situation into a wonderfully creative experience. The audience was so mesmerized that they couldn't imagine or remember anything else that the great master had played, only the classic Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And boys and girls, that's the way it is with God. What we can accomplish on our own is hardly noteworthy. We try our best, but the results aren't always graceful and flowing music. But with the hand of the Master, our life's work can become truly beautiful. So, next time you set out to accomplish great and marvelous feats, or even just a simple practice, I want you to listen really carefully. Because if you do, you'll hear the voice of the Master, the great Master, Jesus Christ, whispering in your ear, "Don't quit, keep playing." Thank you for listening so well, boys and girls. Did you remember to keep that skill in your head as I told that story then? Very good. Sometimes in our own lives, we can feel that we will never be good enough, that we will just never be able to shoot that soccer goal right, or that our cakes will never taste as good as the person next door's. But did you want to know something? God is the master pianist in our lives. And even if our skills aren't perfect, He can take them and make them into something beautiful for His glory. I'm going to put a verse on the screen now. And this verse is found in Colossians 3, verses 23 to 24. Can you read it with me? Fantastic. "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as your reward. It is the Lord Jesus Christ you are serving." Colossians 3, verses 23 to 24. Fantastic. So boys and girls, what does it mean to work with all of our heart? I'm going to ask you to turn to the person beside you, and we're going to have a bit of a discussion for 1 minute, and then we'll come together and bring our answers as a class. So turn to the person next to you. We'll put the questions up on the screen so that you can see them, and discuss what it means to work with all of our heart and how we can practice our skills with all of our heart for God's glory. Alright, grade 4, I need each of you to stop talking now and turn back to the front. Fantastic, thank you. The first question, what does it mean to work with all of our heart? Can I ask you to raise your hand if you have a response to that? Amy? 110%, very nice. Dylan? Yes, to do our very best. Good. One more response from Dylan. Oh yeah, so you're saying to try our best every single time? Thank you. So what does it mean to practice with all of our heart? Jackson, I know you've been working on those soccer goals for our upcoming tournament. How could you practice with all of your heart? Very good. Listen to the coach and try your best every single time. Amy, how can you practice with all of your heart? Put in 110% effort every time. Very good. Any more ideas? Very good. So boys and girls, I know we've got to go to maths now, but before you go, I'd like to remind each of you of one thing. Even if your skills and talents aren't perfect, and if you feel that you're just never going to be good enough, God is the master pianist, and He can use your skills and talents as they are for His glory. So as you go to maths class today, I'll be giving each of you a note. It's a little piece of paper, and it says, God can take my talents and use them for His glory. I want you to go home and to put this piece of paper wherever you practice. For example, Jackson, if you're going to be practicing soccer, maybe you could put it where you keep your soccer boots. And hopefully it'll help you to remember that God can take your skills and talents and He can use them. Thank you for being such good listeners. You may now move to maths class.